Well, I think this is video 3 or 2 that we are doing on the theme for this year. So the theme at the church is live well, or well, living a new normal, walking out a new normal, live well, live right. And so live right, we essentially cover in a spiritual way in terms of living the righteous walk. But if you're living a righteous life and an unhealthy life, then you don't have a long enough life. And so then you would live well, and all the promises that God has for you won't get to realize them. So we've been focusing on different things. We started off with no sugar. What else did we do? I remember there was a last one, did we? And the heart health, right? And so since it's summer, I think it's a good place to get into some physical exercise. So that's kind of like the emphasis. So if you're watching this, you might want to go put on your favorite exercise outfit just to get yourself in the mood for what we're going to do. And so I love how God blesses this church by sending people to this church that this church needs. What is your career?
My career is a personal trainer.
A personal trainer.
Yes.
So that's essentially helping people look trim.
Yes, if that's what you want to call healthy. Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so then what? But so what do you mean? That's if what I want to call healthy. Why are you always picking fights with me? Every time we get on microphone, so I'm not. What is healthy? You know what? I'll let you guys interview him because clearly he has a vendetta with me. So I have nothing else to say.
Can I elaborate on the trim?
I don't know. Can you?
Because there's
by the trim you mean the looking trim.
Yeah,
but in all
trim,
honesty, there's some people think healthy.
Yeah, looks very slim, but that's not necessarily true.
Yeah.
Everyone has their own BMI, so to speak. BMI is one of the ways you can measure your health. Okay. So if you're extremely
BMI, you mean building one's mind intentionally?
That could be one, but it's body mass index.
Oh, body mass index. Okay.
Yes,
so that's something that people need to pay attention to?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
How do I, so how do you know how to figure out BMIs? No? Okay.
Something about your weight.
Yes, it's your height, weight, multiplied squared.
Okay, so height, weight, multiplied squared.
Yes.
Okay. I'm thinking worst case scenario, somebody can Google it. Yeah, worst case scenario, figure out your BMI, yes. Go to Google, enter the info.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. But
so you were saying that depending, in terms of being trim, your BMI is something to take into consideration.
Yes, it is. But it's not the holy grail. It's not the holy grail. It's one way of measurement.
Okay.
You can also just do your fat percentages by taking waist and hip measurement.
Okay.
And that's another way you can record.
Okay.
If you're in a healthy state or not.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead. I said I'm not going to cause anything, so you guys can interview him.
I would ask, so in terms of personal training, so you said that it's not just, so some persons might look at it as trying to attain a certain body weight, but is there more to it? Is being a personal trainer or is being fit more to just losing weight?
Yes, absolutely. It's more than losing weight. There's also your cardiac health. Your heart health. There's also the way you eat, which is easily 70 to 80% of your health and what really matters. Exercise is great, though. You definitely need it. Mm-hmm. You need it because the body is meant to move. It's not meant to sit still. I can count. I don't know how many times people came to the gym and said, I'm not feeling great. And I'll ask them why. And they'll say, well, I've been at home or at the desk at work, just sitting there all day, and now I have back pain, or my leg hurts, or my shoulder hurts. And it's all just from inactivity. And that alone can lead you to an unhealthy path.
What are you thinking, Sister Swana? What concerns you when we talk about living well as it relates to exercise or body issues?
I think about people's mental health associated to physical health. I think a lot of people want a quick fix in order to feel better. So they take supplements or whatever. So as a personal trainer, I don't know, you know, that there's a gradual process to losing weight. So what would you say to those people who are wanting to lose weight, but they're trying to do it in a very fast way?
It's not the right answer, period. Period. It's not the way you want to do it. It's a journey. I talk to people and I tell them, you got to understand, like, you're changing your physical form from a molecular level.
Yeah.
So it's going to take time. There's no way you're going to go out there, pop a pill, and it's going to be fixed. You can't do it. So you got to enjoy the process. Now, how you perform the process is what matters most, because some people go too hard, then they fail. Or they go too hard and they don't have the energy, or they don't go hard enough. So you have to find a balance. So what I tell people really when they work with me is you take gradual steps. We'll start with the foundational movements in every human being, whether it's a lunge, a squat, push-up, hinging pattern, and a pull. Just have those five foundational things in your program, and you'll gradually progress. And it's really, you have to have patience. You have to have patience. Again, you're changing your body from a molecular level. Like, there's not much you can do but be patient.
Do you have a follow-up? Whilst you think about it, I love the fact that I pastor a church where my people are smart. But some of us, we're smart differently than other people. So in a nutshell, now that word you said, molecular?
Molecular.
Molecular.
Yeah.
Yeah. Break it. What does that mean to the average person?
So when you think about it, when you're changing your body physiologically, you're changing cells.
Okay.
Cells need to change. Cells need to respond to this new adaptation that you're performing, this new stimulus. So if you're changing cells, do you think your cells are going to instantly just change on a dime? When you think about how you grow plants, it takes time.
Right.
So many things are happening. So many things have to work in unison before these adaptations are become.
So, and that's why it's important to the question, because it becomes a mental issue when the mindset is, okay, I've done this for 3 weeks, it should. But what you're saying is that we need to have a mindset and understanding where the work is going.
Yeah.
It's not, don't just look at your legs or your stomach or your biceps or triceps, just understand that you're starting something at the cells level.
Yes,
So
yeah.
there's even something happening that you don't even see.
That you don't
Because
even
not a
notice,
lot of people
yeah.
walk around seeing their cells. Right? So that's important to understand. If you're exercising and you're not seeing results, understand that if something is happening,
Yeah.
you got to stick to it.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, all right. You any follow-up, guys?
I guess just something quickly as we're talking about, not wanting, there's no quick fix, but I guess you could fall into the habit of wanting to weigh yourself just often. So if you're trying to lose weight, so what would you recommend is a healthy number of times per week to check that weight if you're trying to lose weight?
For me, it's once a week. You should check. I mean, ideally, first thing in the morning. Granted that you don't eat late at night. If you don't, then you can check yourself once every week in the morning. Some people might not want to do that once a month, but if you're on a journey, you want to do once a week so you can see your progress, so you can track your progress. If you're checking it breakfast, lunch, dinner, I mean, you're going to drive yourself crazy.
Right, yeah.
You're absolutely going to drive yourself crazy because it fluctuates. So if you're just drinking tons of water, if you do that in the morning, by the time you're going to bed, you're going to see that scale move up. And you're like, whoa, what just happened? And then you do it in the next day, following day, in the morning. You check and you're like, oh, I'm back down. But then if you check again later in the night, you're like, why am I back up, right? So there's a lot of factors. So just once a week, if you want to do it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, it doesn't matter as long as it's consistent. And you just check it once and you leave it alone. You go about your week, then you come back to it the next week and then see if you're progressing.
Anything else?
What do you see as a personal trainer with your clients, the challenges that they have to overcome in order to even get to start doing the exercises?
Off the top of my head, one is visual change. If they don't see the visual change, they feel like they're not getting to where they need to be. But for me, I see it because one thing, like I look at movements thoroughly, and if I see like you're struggling on the 8th rep, but next time we do it, you're just clearing it. I'm like, oh, it's working. It's working. But if they look in the mirror, they don't see what I see, so they look in the mirror like, oh, nothing's changing. But you're getting stronger. That means the muscle cells in there are getting stronger, so they're going to start conforming. That means there's going to be less fat, because now you're building more muscle fiber. And then once you do that, then you'll see the changes. It takes about, I believe like a month and a half before you see some subtle changes. By 3 months, you will see those changes. But you have to stay consistent. So people might fall off within a month or two because they don't see the changes. But on average, it takes 3 months. So just go those 3 months, and then you'll see something.
So essentially, having some sort of a support system, it sounds helpful when you have somebody who is encouraging
Yes.
in the process.
Yeah, absolutely.
So don't do it alone. Have somebody that that holds you accountable to either
yeah.
who does the stuff with you or who checks in with you to
Yeah.
make sure you do it. That would also be useful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So we want to be clear. We have several professionals in this church. And so Brother Curtis does professional training as a career. That's what he does. And of course, if you are willing to pay the price, there is a price. He doesn't do it for charity work. The Lord didn't call him to do it as a gift in kind. So he does charge you to do it, but talk with him. If you're watching this and you're not connected to the church, send us an email or something and we'll put you in touch with him. Because there is merit to that. You get that support in terms of doing that. But he's using some of his expertise today to sort of help us and motivate us of the importance of living well. And practically, we want to do that. We want to demonstrate some things practically. You want to say something?
Oh, no.
Oh, okay. Sister Ruth taught me that she said that there are different types of muscles. Cardiac muscles, smooth muscles, and skeletal muscles. Right. I think if I'm not mistaken, your main area of focus would probably be the skeletal muscles.
Yep.
Okay. All right. And so skeletal muscles. So the other muscles are involuntarily controlled, the cardiac muscles, but the skeletal muscles are voluntarily controlled,
Yes.
meaning we are responsible for them.
Yes.
Now, when we think cardiac muscles, it's possible that there are some things that we could do that affects the proper functioning of the cardiac muscles. I'm
Yeah.
thinking something like the heart
Yeah.
would be considered in that category.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And so there are things that we can do with the skeletal muscles that affect obviously the functioning of the heart, the
Yeah.
pressure and all that stuff. Okay, so if we're focusing on the skeletal muscles, so essentially it's anything that your body covers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What I want to do is okay, so what three things, I'm wondering three things that would be essential to maintain healthy muscles, right? So what would you say the three things essentially are?
Okay. First and foremost, I would have to say diet.
Okay.
100% diet. You mentioned supplements. Supplements are great as long as you don't use them as a meal replacement. They're just a supplement. They're supplements.
Wait, hang a minute. Supplements are great if you don't use them as a meal replacement?
Yes, because some people rely too much on supplements.
Okay.
So they think instead of eating a meal,
Right.
they'll just have supplements. They'll 3 scoops.
But some of the supplements, I think they're called meal replacement because you get whatever you're supposed to get.
I mean, I would say if you're going to take those meal replacements, maybe you can't have solid foods.
Oh, okay.
Perhaps.
Okay.
But if you're fully able, like you got a great digestive system and it's working properly, you should have
Food is better.
solid foods
Yeah.
and then supplement with protein.
Isn't it interesting how God works? Because one of the muscle types that we learn about is the smooth muscles. And so when we have the food and stuff like that, it activates those muscles.
Yeah.
God's amazing. And when you
Yeah.
exercise, it activates the cardiac muscles. It's amazing how God has done all things. Okay, so you finish your thought. You're talking about diet.
Diet.
Eating well is important.
Very important.
And so generally people should eat 3 meals a day.
Generally, yes.
Yeah. And so the more vegetables we eat is always better.
Yeah, vegetables is great. I mean, really can't get much of your vitamins without vegetables and
okay.
fruit and minerals and the like. After nutrition, I would say resistance training. Now, resistance training could involve weights or just your body weight.
Okay.
That's fine too.
So eating well, exercising, and do you think there's a place in there for rest?
Oh, 100%.
Okay.
100%. I've learned the hard way many times of not resting.
Okay.
And and it when you don't rest, it actually takes you away from your entire goal, because now your body's too sore, you're tired, you're fatigued, mentally you don't even want to go through it anymore. You're like, I can't even look at weights right now. I don't want to do that. So yeah, rest is important. And essentially, you want to have 2 days working out, then a rest. 2 days working out and a rest. If you can't do that, you go 1 on, 1 off, 1 on, 1 off until you reach a weekend. Then you can have 2 days off and then just rest. Yeah.
Okay, so rest in between the workouts, resting the body, the muscle.
Yeah.
What about actual sleep? Is there something, is that beneficial as well?
Yes. So on average, you need about 7 to 8 hours of sleep, because that sleep is when your body's recovering. That's when your muscles are repairing itself. And again, fatigue, mental fatigue. So you do need around 7 to 8 hours of sleep. I've done it when I haven't had that, and waking up, you're extremely sore, depending how intense you work out though. But you could be extremely sore, and and then the mental fatigue is there too. You don't want to go to the gym and lift.
Okay, so we're trying to challenge the people to in terms of living right, especially over the summer, is to develop some physical health routine or plan. And so we're trying to say to them, start somewhere, because that's important.
Yeah, very important.
Or continue, be consistent with it. But you also have to eat well. That's why we told you about the sugar. We told you about we talked about the heart. We're going to talk about reducing salt and different things. So eating well is important. Resting is important. And then, of course, you said resistance training or exercise. Okay.
Yeah.
So what we want to focus on, if you want to go deep into exercise, that's fine. Call Brother Curtis, and he'll set you up. I'm going to get Brother Prince and Sister Ada to come in a little bit. And are there some basic things that they can do? Now, of course, what is the one exercise that you think everybody can do every week?
Oh, easily squats. Easily
Okay.
squats.
See, I thought you were going to say walking.
Oh,
No, that's okay.
I mean, yeah, you can walk, but
Okay.
I'm thinking on a functional level, like you need to be able to squat. It's just such a functional movement in humans. Same with walking, but
Okay.
I can intensify a squat. I can get stronger through a squat.
Okay.
Walking, I'm sure I can walk distance and get stronger through there, but if I really want to get stronger and I really want to involve the whole body, squatting is the best thing.
No. Be you. Be true to you. It seems to me that what you're saying is walking is great past your butt. That's okay. I'm okay with that. You're the one that know the stuff. We're not talking theology, so we're good. So walking is beneficial though.
Yeah.
It's good mostly for the heart. Is that it?
Yes, I was
Okay.
just about to say it's great for cardio. I mean, if you really want to intensify your walk, you can, I don't know, grab a couple bags, load them up with some cans, and start walking.
So a 20, 30-minute walk every 2 days or every day
That should be
is good.
that's
Okay.
sufficient.
So walking is good, but you seem to be a strong advocate for resistance training.
Yeah,
Because that's what really
absolutely.
works the muscles, the skeletal muscles.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So you're saying one of the things we need to do are squats. Okay. And what else?
Hinging.
Hinging, okay.
Hinging, yeah.
Okay, so I want you to show us. So, because I'm thinking, I'm wanting somebody who watches this that they would simply, they can look at this and have something that they can start doing at least once a day. So squats. So they're doing the walking, taking care of the heart.
Yes.
But they're going to do some squats, some hinging, and
Okay, so that's 2 lower bodies. If I had to give you an upper body, it would push up.
push-ups.
Push up.
Okay.
Very easy to do. I mean, well, being able to do
Okay.
within your space. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm not sure Sister Ada is dressed to do a push-up, but we'll figure that out. Okay. So I want you to kind of show us.
Okay.
This is, by the way, we didn't even plan this,
Yeah.
and this is the beautiful thing about this church. We're just spirit led in all things. So can you show us a squat?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you guys still want to come? Okay. I don't know if you need to take your shoes off, get right. I don't know what it's up to you. Don't want to damage your shoes or nothing.
I mean, I think a squat doesn't do very much to my shoes. So.
No, you should be all right.
I was speaking
Yeah.
to my
Curtis,
daughter over
if I may, sir, take my liberties. I think squatting is such a good thing because I think often people get it wrong and then it actually causes injury.
Yes.
So I'm interested to know if you can get the two to actually squat the way they think they should and then actually correct that.
Oh, okay. Oh, yes. Absolutely.
I don't know. Are you guys okay with that?
Absolutely.
Do you even know what a squat is? So maybe you should show us, Brother
Okay.
Curtis, what is a squat?
Hold this.
And then Sister Ada could be like, oh, this is how I would do that.
Okay.
Brother Prince, over here.
The camera's good?
Cameraman, where do you want him to be? Do you want him to face you? He can turn around and face you, no? Yeah, turn around and face him.
Okay, perfect. So what you want to do is first order of business is you want to get your...
No, just show us a rough thing and then he'll show us the proper way after.
Okay.
We want to embarrass Brother Prince, you know.
All
We want to
I'll go ahead and squat.
Okay, so that's a squat. So that's the thing. So if you were to do that, you comfortable doing that?
Sure.
Okay. If you were to do that, because they're looking through this camera here. Okay. So if you were to do that, how would you do that? You ready there, Brother John? Okay.
We good?
I already know that I feel like this frequently. I can't get to the ground.
Okay. All right.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. One more. Okay. Yeah. All right.
All right. Your turn, Brother Prince.
All right.
There's so much judgment. So from here.
Yeah. Oh, okay. One more. Oh, good. That's solid. Okay, that's solid. There's some tweaks, but that's solid. That's solid.
In the whole men's sermon, we forgot to mention the part about competitive. Okay, so now, since you show us how it's supposed to be done.
The squat again?
Yeah. Okay, but tell us. I'll hold the mic for you, and you can tell us.
Here, actually.
Oh,
let me
you hold
just-
the mic.
Let me,
It's
let me
fine.
just use it. Yeah. So the camera's facing.
Curtis is not here.
Cool. So first order of business is your legs. So your legs need to be directly underneath you. But if that doesn't feel comfortable, you can always widen it until that feels comfortable. If that doesn't feel comfortable, then you want to go wider. The reason is because everyone's hip placement or hip is different. No one's the same. Absolutely no one. So there's no one true way to squat, but there's things that you can see that are imbalances and fix. So if that feels comfortable, try to squat. See, that's probably not your great position because your heels come off the ground. You need to be rooted at all times. So bring it in. There you go. See, that's your spot.
Okay.
And it feels comfortable, right? Yeah.
So let me get the principles right that I'm trying to get you to show us. He's clearly in work mode.
Yeah, I totally went into work. Sorry.
We just want to know the principles that we need to get right. So how should we be standing?
Okay, just like that.
Okay,
facing forward, toes facing forward, hips either underneath your shoulders or wider apart, depending on how your hips
So
are.
hips underneath your shoulders?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or it could go wider. Depends.
Depending, okay.
Depending
so
on how
that
you're
depends.
built.
And they will know that based on their comfort level as they go down.
Yeah,
okay.
absolutely.
If it's painful, extend it.
Yeah.
Make it wider. You
Yeah.
got that? Okay. So and then now, so facing forward, hips positioned in a way that, you're not experiencing pain.
Yeah, pain, yeah. Or
There's a
discomfort,
difference
yeah.
between pressure and pain, I would imagine. You know when
Yeah.
you're pushing a muscle, okay? And then what's the next thing? So make sure that their foot, as in their
So when I made him go further apart, his heels came up.
Okay,
You don't
so
want
the
your
heels on the
yeah,
ground.
The
Heels
heels need to
touching
be
ground
stable.
always,
Yeah, you need to
okay.
be stable at all times.
and that's true male and female.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
all
everybody,
right.
yeah.
Okay, you guys want to give it a shot? All right, so let's go.
Okay.
Same time? You ready?
What is shoulder width apart? What is that?
So shoulder width apart is if I were to line up your hip, it would align with your shoulder.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are my feet in line with my shoulder?
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Ready? Yeah, go ahead. So for her, for instance, I noticed that you have weak inner thigh muscles.
Yeah.
So you see how her knees cave in?
Okay.
They cave in a bit. That means you need to work on those. So
Inner
if
thigh.
anything, I'll tell you to do more sumo squat.
More? Okay.
So sumo squat would be very wide, and then you can work. the
Okay,
inner thigh.
hey, hang on. This was not. If we missed this, this is for somebody. This is free information here.
Yeah.
So for the person who just experienced what Sister Ada experienced, which is a bit of pain, I would say.
Yeah, or like unevenness.
Okay, an unevenness. You're saying that that's an inner thigh muscle
Yeah,
problem,
yeah.
and the way to fix that is
You could go wide on your stance. If that doesn't work, then we just strictly have to work
Okay.
on.
So
the
go
anti-muscle
wide.
factor.
If that's you, go wide, and then if not, then you got to do some more Google inner thigh muscle work, or again call Brother
Yeah.
Curtis. Okay. So now that she's okay, so you want to try it one more time?
Yeah, sure. Let's do it one more time.
Okay.
Oh, see, that's better. That works. All right, good stuff.
See?
All right, so that's the squat. What's
yeah,
the
that's
hinge?
the score. The hinge is so these are all functional movements. So the squat would be picking up a box.
Okay.
Hinging could be picking up a box, but this time we're just
I'm sorry. You said squatting is like picking up a box?
yeah. If you were going
see?
down,
That was your back, sir.
Huh?
Use your back there.
Oh no, but I'm just saying that's what he said.
yeah,
So that's something for people to know.
Yeah, it's
So when you
functional
think of
movements.
squatting, think of it as picking up a box. Okay.
Yeah.
That stuff is important. That's a good tip right there. Okay. So now what's the hinge?
hinge could be say you got groceries and you want to just pick them up, move.
Okay.
So you're hinging from the hip. All the movement comes from the hip, just folding over
Mm-hmm.
like that. But a lot of people, so there's an exercise called the deadlift, which requires.
No. Don't make us complicated.
okay,
No.
okay,
We're only talking about the hinge. You're not at work. Okay. So we just want to hinge.
Yeah. yeah.
So how do we hinge? We go.
All right.
Just tell us practically how to hinge.
So all you're gonna do, same thing. Shoulders. Your hips underneath your shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're just gonna fold your hips over.
Pick up the bag of
Pick
groceries.
up the groceries, and then
And then
your way.
turn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, this is just action.
Okay. So that's
Yeah,
it.
That's it.
Okay. So you want to try that? Okay. All right. So they're gonna hinge.
Perfect. Legs closer together. There you go. Good. And all you want to do is activate move your hips and push your butt back, and that's it.
Am I trying to touch my toes?
If you can, that would be great. That would mean you got great hamstrings. There you go. Okay, so two things. both of you. So what I did mention is you don't want to curl your back,
Okay.
right? Then you're putting a lot of instability in your lower back. So you want to keep your back kind of straight and then just reach down. So push your back. Yeah, push your butt back. There you go.
I felt that in my hamstrings a lot more.
Yeah, there you go. Good. And you're hinging. You're hinging.
So there's
Hinging.
the squat, the hinge, and there's one more thing you said.
Push up.
The push-ups.
Which everyone should be able to do.
Status is out.
But the thing is, with the push-up, you can modify it. So
So I think you'll just show us the push-up. Where
wanna
do
do
you
a
want him,
push-up?
camera people? Like right here? Okay. So let's clap for Sister Ada and Brother Prince. Unless Prince wants to take on but my Ada is not doing no push-up. Not today. Not now. Anyhow.
okay,
so-
cool. Yeah, perfect.
Okay.
Oh Lord, these guys in
Good.
this church.
Awesome. Back straight. Good. Yeah. And then just go down.
What if I can't?
You can. There you go. Beautiful. There you go.
That was horrible.
Why?
I haven't done one in a long time.
That was fine. I saw the elbows go 90 degrees. That's all I need.
Yeah, we also heard things. Creaks, cracks, a monkey bricky back. No, guys, listen, we're trying to do a recording here for the stop. How much times am I going to have to tell you guys? We have to be serious.
So modified is simply put your knees on the ground. Boom. That's it. And then push up. There you go. One
good
key
with that,
thing,
Sister Ada?
One key thing.
That one you
want
could do.
you want like a straight line. You don't want to dip your head, right? So just keep your head like that. There you go. Good. Because once you start dipping your head, your upper back starts curving, right?
You have a question there, Mrs.
Yeah.
Dubuffo?
Yes. So when he was in the modified position, is it okay to also lift your back legs up to increase the intent, like the how do you call that? Yeah.
The load,
The
essentially.
load,
Yeah.
to make it a little more challenging.
Yeah, absolutely. If you want to do that, yeah, you can. Absolutely. At the end of the day, all you're really focusing on is the upper body. So from your shoulders, arms, chest, and your core, of course, to keep you stable. But yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Brother
Good
Prince.
job, Prince. Get those push-ups in on your own, though.
Have a seat.
That was awesome.
Okay. But in all seriousness, we're trying to challenge you to do some things in terms of living well. And the focus are muscles, the skeletal muscles. eating well addresses the smooth muscles, and these are things like stomach and let me tell you what the smooth muscles are.
Smooth muscles are
Go ahead.
Uh,
It's I have it written down here.
typically your vital organs, your lungs,
Right.
stomach, liver,
I thought I had it, but okay.
kidney.
Something to do with the esophagus, something. What's the word? Esophagus or something like that.
Yeah.
Anyhow, I thought I had it, but anyhow, your reproductive system, all that sort of
Yeah.
stuff. Those are the smooth muscles, and so eating is connected to that. Eating well helps that. And then the cardiac muscles, of course, we know. But the skeletal muscles is what we're really focusing on today.
Yeah.
And so we're encouraging people to eat well, rest well, 7 to 8 hours every 24-hour period. That's important. I would even add here that 1 day of rest, not a whole day of sleeping, but 1 day of not life as normal is
Yes.
also important.
Yes.
It's a biblical
Yes.
principle, and this is important. You got to have 1 day when you don't do life as normal. That's important. Now, I'm not talking about cooking, cleaning, and things like that, but you could just do life differently in that area. 1 day where you don't cook, you cook the day before and you put it aside. So that's important. But then we also want to emphasize exercise.
Yeah.
And so we are encouraging people to do this free one, which is walk. That's important
Yeah.
for the heart, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
20 to 30 minutes a day of walking. And walking means walking upstairs,
Yeah.
taking the steps instead of the elevator, things like that,
Yeah.
as much as is possible. And then do some resistance exercise.
Resistance exercise, whether it be body weight or if you have access to a gym, doing weights.
And what we
yeah.
showed people today was their own body weight.
Yeah,
But if
yeah,
you have a chance to
absolutely.
go to the gym, just make sure you do some resistance exercise as well. And so we talk about the basic things like the squat, the hinges, and the
Push-ups,
push-ups.
yep.
I mean, you're thinking that if somebody starts there, they're going to see some sort of change in
Oh,
their body and
absolutely.
even feel differently.
Yeah, absolutely. Because even if you wanted to take out the hinge, just the squat and the push-up alone, you just attacked both halves of your body
Right.
easily. And it's what we call a compound exercise. So it crosses multiple joints. So you got your shoulders, your arms, your chest all working for the push-up. The squat, you got your knees, your ankle, your hips, and your lower back all
Right.
working. So
Right. And what do you guys, so let's wrap this up. I mean, and of course, this guy loves what he does, as you can tell. He's loaded with
really got
information.
into it.
So feel free to talk with him. But I want to be clear as the pastor, he will talk with you for a bit, but eventually he'll set up an appointment. He's not doing it out of the goodness of his heart to sort of talk with you. He'll even set up the appointment at the church. I'll rent him a room to do it. But don't pull information of him for free, okay? Even if he gives you a little bit of information, give him a $20. Give him a handshake with $20 in it or something. Thank him for his services. I ain't giving you $20 for $20.
I was like, I didn't know it came with a check. Okay.
All right, so we're good. Do you guys anything that you think people might want to find out, might want to know or something?
I guess I'm thinking of, you mentioned like people having goals as they exercise. It could mean to build muscle. It could mean to lose weight. Can you maybe quickly touch on what things you should stay away from in terms of eating before you exercise or after you exercise?
Okay. So generally, you want to stay away from food about 2 hours before you work out, at least. And if you really have to eat, don't eat anything that are heavily in fats because it takes too long to process or digest in your system. So when your body's trying to digest food, it's sending blood to the necessary organs to function. Now, when you start working out, now your body's like, well, I need blood to digest. Now you need blood to work out for your muscles. What are we trying to do here? So then you might cramp, fatigue, nausea, and it is just not a good recipe.
So people should eat about 2 hours before
Yeah.
and 2 hours after, at
And
least after exercise.
Afterwards, it depends. It depends on your time. So if you have access to a quick shake or a meal right after post-workout, that's fine. Get it in there. Your body will utilize it instantly. Your window is usually 24 to 48 hours. I mean, it varies because people are different when it comes to post, but you don't want to get your meal 3 days after, 4 days
Okay.
after. I mean,
So-
if you're doing that, that's
So that's why some people
it's pretty
exercise
bad.
at nights and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And of course, when you feed your body after exercise, I would imagine something good to feed your body is proteins and
Yeah.
as much vitamin stuff that you can get in.
Yes,
as possible.
proteins and carbs, because
Okay.
the carbs are the fuel that allowed you to work out, and then the proteins are what builds your muscle.
Okay.
So you need those.
Okay. You have a question, ma'am, and then we wrap up?
Yeah, so we've covered exercises, but one of the things I think I would love for you to kind of elaborate on is the importance of stretching post and before.
Oh. A lot of people think you're supposed to stretch statically before you work out, which is not true. You shouldn't be doing that.
What?
Yeah, you shouldn't be doing that.
We're not supposed to stretch before we work out?
Before, no, you want to prime your body for movement. So when you're static, think about a car on a cold winter day. When you start the car, you're not gonna just immediately go. You're gonna wait till the car warms up. So when you warm up through dynamically, when you warm up, you're prepping your body for movement. So, for instance, if Prince and Nada were gonna do heavy squat lifting, I'll tell them, well, let's do a couple bodyweight squats. Get used to the movement. Let your body warm up to that movement, and then go underneath the bar and start working out. Now, if I told them to start stretching and elongating their muscles while it was cold, it's a recipe for injury.
So this is interesting, 'cause
Yeah.
this is what everybody says. Now, I hope, so you're saying that they can sort of go into it gradually.
Gradually, yes.
But the whole idea of the stretches and all that stuff is not necessary.
No, it's
before.
Before. You want to do it after. Now your body's
Okay.
fully warmed up. Is the blood's flowing, everything's warmed up, and then now you can really stretch. So if you want, experiment. Start a stretch beforehand, and then see how far you get. Say you're doing a hamstring, you're trying to touch your toes, and then go through your workout, and then afterwards go and try to touch your toes. You'll realize, wow, I got to my toes. Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just saved 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, there's more muscles coming this way, Sister Natalie. Woo. Okay, because that's an extra 15-minute workout. But so just going through it gradually, but then afterwards with the exercise.
Afterwards, elongate the muscles, stretch them out, work your flexibility.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is really good. We want to be an all-encompassing church. This is biblical, when you read of course, there's the practical idea of taking care of the body so we can live long enough to do all that God has called us to do, or to get all that God has called us to get. But Paul, Paul had stamina. When you think of everything he did, and all the things that he endured, and I think that's because Paul got this. He took care of his body, and he oftentimes used athletic terms and exercise terms in his writing, which means that he was
he did.
familiar with
Yeah.
it. As a person who is into that, you probably liked the character of Paul because you can relate to that.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
he talked about being an athlete, and you referenced fighting and things like that, and so I'm saying all of this is biblical, what we're talking about, but we got to go. So I think we've come to the end.
One thing I will say, one more thing about sleeping. Make sure it's at consistent times.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
make
to
sure
try to
it's
sleep the
consistent.
same times every day.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
I encourage people to try to let midnight catch them sleeping at least 2 hours before midnight. At least, minimum. There's something about that changing. I think that's there for a reason. I can get into it, but I don't want to get into it. But so to kind of be sleeping like the middle of the night, around between 9 and 10, and not be waking up before 3 or 4, I think it's a good time. There's a word that I can't think of right now that's important about something being reset, but I can't think of the word.
Circadian rhythm.
Exactly. Say it again for the people to hear. Circadian
Circadian
rhythm, something like that. That's important. So but try to maintain the same sort of
Yes,
sleep pattern
absolutely.
for a period of time. It'd be really good. Yeah, like we're going to be the healthiest church, and we're trying to get that goal. All right, thank you, Brother Curtis.
My pleasure.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now it's time to say goodbye to all our Shilohites. S-H-I. I'm glad you came. L-O-H. Here's to saying goodbye. Anyhow, God bless you, and take good care.